I want to sort of relate sustainability to earnings.
Right.
How do you become sustainable and invest in that when it may not be profitable yet, and also deal with profitability and growth?
No, it's a great question. I mean, simply costs and revenue. So in terms of one of our largest costs as an airline is our fuel costs. And so we have every financial incentive to reduce the amount of fuel that we're using through the use of more modern engine technology, better ATC patterns, and also investment in things like sustainable aviation fuel and revenue. I mean, more and more customers are becoming very aware of the environmental impact that aviation has, and they want the industry to respond. And if we don't, we'll see impact in demand longer term.
Do you think that this is a touch point for American consumers? I see that the Green Party is on the rise in many European countries, but I still see a lot of Americans still sort of more or less in denial about how serious the issue is, how urgent it is. But do you think this is an appeal to American consumers?
I think it's changing. I think it's changing quickly. When I talk to some of my colleagues who are running European airlines, they're already starting to see the impact of this, and some of the research that we do here show that whilst consumers here aren't necessarily changing behavior yet, they're very conscious of it, and they might. And so the challenge is for us as industry to provide the answers to their questions so that aviation doesn't just become seen as an essential form of travel.
Which brings up then, how do you grow? And I think that's one of the bigger questions broadly for JetBlue. It's like you're not low cost enough to compete with like a Frontier, but you're also trying to appeal to business consumers and dealing with, say, cross-Atlantic travel. Yeah. How do you do that? How can you do both?
Well, I mean, it is simplest, and we've been doing this for 20 years. We want to offer customers a great product at a low fare. And when we think about the opportunities to fly to Europe, we see the opportunity because our competitors are gouging customers with very high fares. You want to fly to London tonight out of New York in business class, you're probably going to pay $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. That's an obscene fare. And so the opportunity for JetBlue, just as we did in the early days, is to change that. We've done it already. We started flights from the Northeast to California back in 2014 with our Mint experience, which is a premium offering. And fares are less than half than they were 5 years ago, and customers are getting a better experience. So we've been doing it for 20 years. That's what we do. Do
you have any tips for regular business travelers like myself when we fly JetBlue? Is there any little tricks that we should be doing?
Well, first of all, I think flying JetBlue is a great start. So start with that. You're going to get a great fare, and you're going to get great service. I mean, you get the legroom. I mean, coming to Bloomberg actually reminds me of flying JetBlue with all the free snacks here. I mean, it's great. You guys have it great. And so, we're committed to that. We offer free live TV, free Wi-Fi, the most legroom, free drinks and snacks, and the best crew members in the industry. So I think it's a great deal.
Can you do it alone, or do you have to buy? Like, do you have to go in and you have to merge with somebody, particularly, say, someone in Europe that has a big distribution? Like, how are you going to convince me to fly on your plane to Europe when then you can't get me to, say, Florence?
Well, so we already work today with 50 different airline partners. That's the way I think the industry has evolved. You don't have to buy anybody. You are seeing internationally airlines form joint ventures because it's hard for airlines to merge across borders because of foreign ownership restrictions. But we do it differently. We work with 50 partners and we offer connectivity to many places beyond the JetBlue network.
The other question in everyone's mind is Boeing. Yeah. So the story, you're not exposed to Boeing 737, but that has obviously taken a lot of capacity off market. Yeah. The problem is when it comes back on market, that's going to depress fares and hurt you guys. How do you position?
Well, I mean, if we think about the capacity is really affected this year. If the capacity comes back into 2020, that capacity was always going to be there anyway. I mean, the airplanes that airlines will start flying again were airlines they were already going to be flying. And so we really think the setup for 2020 is going to be pretty similar to what we had expected.
So no fare decline if we get the capacity back?
Whenever capacity comes up, increases, there is the risk of lower fares. It's that supply and demand issue. From a JetBlue perspective, though, there are lots of things we're doing on the loyalty side with some new fare options that we'll be rolling out later this year that should allow us to continue to post unit revenue increases into 2020.